So Claude Cowork was just released this week, only for the Mac, unfortunately. So I'm not going to get a chance to try it out until the Windows version comes out. The idea behind Claude Cowork is that it's an evolution of Claude Code. And Claude Code is the single best coding agentic system out there right now. It is like by far better than any of the competitors. In fact, all the competitors have been trying to use it for their coding, and Anthropic, that makes Claude, has been locking them out. So very funny. Um, it's apparently a really great platform. The last coding vibe coding experiment I did used Claude, but just the regular average Joe version, not the specialized coding one. And even that was absolutely fantastic, worked perfectly the first time out, and didn't require anything on my part, and talked me through how to upload the app to my website, which it figured out how to do it with just one file, and it's really good. So Claude Cowork takes that same agentic approach and gives it to everybody for ordinary tasks. Agentic stuff is important because instead of just answering a single question off the top of its head, it it creates a bunch of AIs that work together to accomplish a bigger task. So you might have like one AI doing the planning, and that's specialized for planning. Another AI would delegate the task, another AI would do the task, another AI would check if the task had been completed um, up to a certain standard, and if not, might send it back for rework or change the plan, and so on and so forth. So it would iterate and go back and forth, and it is an excellent way of doing complicated things. So Claude Cowork is definitely something I am keeping in mind. And it is the evolution to a more user-friendly agentic AI workflow. This is where we're going to automate the stuff that we humans actually do in our day-to-day lives or in our jobs. So previously, if you wanted to do automation, you would be doing it at an enterprise level, or you would be using something like N8, N8N, or some other like open source platform. And it's hard. It was difficult. There are visual, builders for this, but they're also hard. It's not something the average user can do. And Claude Cowork makes it more accessible to everybody. So so the way I think of AI is not as a replacement for a human, but as a super powerful tool for people to use. Kind of like say, a chainsaw, right? If you have a chainsaw, you can get a lot more done than if you just have a little handsaw or one of those stone axes. So a chainsaw doesn't replace the person trying to build a house. It makes him more effective. It does reduce the need for people with stone axes because a chainsaw is so much faster than a little stone axe or a little piece of flint. Uh, I watch a lot of traditional technology kind of channels, who are people who are making stuff by hand. Very cool. But anyway, power tools give us more power. They let us do bigger projects. So you might build a bigger house. You might build a skyscraper. You might build a space habitat because you have better tools. So I like to think of AI as being a powerful tool, one that will increase productivity. It's not going to replace humans until it's sentient in and of itself, and we're not going to get into that. Although I will in later videos. I have thoughts. So anyway, Claude Cowork, definitely something to keep an eye out for. I will be keeping an eye out for. There's a bunch of places that are posting tutorials. I will be trying it out, and once I'm able to do something with it, I'll probably do a tutorial on it as well. Right now, I've been using other automation tools, and so far none have risen to the point where I would be recommending them to like a normal human. The interesting thing about Claude Cowork is that it's already putting companies out of business. So there's a company called Eigent AI or Eigent, Eigent .ai. I'll post a link in the description box below that just tweeted that, oh, well, so much for us now. We're just going to be open sourcing our platform because, Claude just did it. That is a big issue in throughout this space. You might have a really, really cool tool, and if it's really, really useful, the AI companies will just add it on as a feature. So, for example, when ChatGPT first came out, it couldn't read PDFs. So, a bunch of companies sprung up that allowed ChatGPT to read a PDF. And there was like a little add on. And, they charged money for it or sold it, well, whatever business model they had. And they went all out of business because ChatGPT and all the other AI platforms added PDF uploads. And now they're no longer needed. So if you're trying to start a business and you have this brilliant idea for something, and it's something that an AI company can do, but hasn't done yet, like, don't bet your house and your kids' college funds on it. That's all I'm saying. And the other thing is, once somebody builds something useful, duplicating that useful thing is quickly becoming an almost trivial task. So a year ago or so, Manus came out. That's Manus. They're one of the biggest agentic platforms out there. They were just acquired by Meta because like everybody wants to have an agentic platform of their own. So Meta just bought them. But anyway, they came out a year ago and they were like super good for the time. And people were really excited. And somebody went into Manus and said, build me a clone of yourself. And it did it. And they posted it on GitHub. I think it took like within a day it was up on GitHub. They called it Anus because, people are childish now. And yeah, Manus built its own clone and the guy who had to do it open sourced it. So the barriers to entry are becoming ridiculously low. Oh, Claude said that it only took them 10 days to build Claude Cowork. They saw that people were using Claude Code for non-coding tasks, but general administrative or whatever stuff they were doing. And they said, oh, we will just add that as a feature. And it took them two days to build this apparently super powerful, super useful platform. Yeah, the pace of change is kind of really cool. Um, Scary, but also cool. The lesson from that for normal people like you and I who are not developers, or maybe who used to be developers a long time ago, but who stopped being developers because they didn't like being developers all that much, and all their skills are now 20 years out of date. If you're like one of these people, then the lesson here is don't chase the latest tech. There's always something newer and better that's coming out. Like there's a million startups, a million vendors, all of them offering new solutions, in everything. And you're like, oh no, I have to stay ahead of all these things. How do I stay on top of 1,000 different apps that I could be using? The lesson here is unless it's literally your job to stay on top of the apps in your particular field, don't bother. Wait a few months, and if it's useful, it's going to be added to one of the big platforms. And right now, the big platforms are ChatGPT, Claude, and Google. And so, whatever platform you pick, just go with it. Right now, I don't see any good reason to switch. If you're like an average kind of person who's just trying to adapt to the world of AI and keep their skills current, just like learn how to use the platform that you're already using and learn how to integrate it into your life. It's going to take you time to do it anyway. And once they add whatever feature that you want, that you've been kind of casting your eye out for, you can just like adapt that because you already know the platform. If you switch platforms and go off to another startup like Eigent or Manus or something else because it's slightly ahead, you're going to have weeks or months of learning ahead of you to learn this new platform. And by the time you learn the new platform, your old platform would have added the feature. So my suggestion is for the average person, don't chase the latest thing unless it's your job. Just learn to use the platform that's already there, that you already have picked. And if you haven't picked one yet, then if you want to be using the platform that the most people are using, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, they're all basically using the same models in the back end. That's a good option, especially if you're already like all in on Microsoft. Then it's kind of like nice to stay within that same ecosystem because everything works together. And and they keep adding new features that make it more user friendly and it takes time to learn all those features. So just like focus on that instead of chasing whatever the latest thing is out there. If you're a Google shop, if you're doing everything in Gmail and Google Docs, in all the other Google things out there, then Gemini is a good option. It's pretty decent as far as rankings go. It's in the top three, depending on the day you check. Sometimes it's number one, sometimes it's number two, sometimes it's number three. But it's definitely up there. It's getting better all the time, and it's fully integrated with everything. So Google is trying to add it to Gmail, to Google Docs and Google Drive, and all of its other software. So if you're already using Google Apps, it's a good place to go. Everything's integrated. And if you don't like either one of those, if you want a company that has a different style, because these AIs all have a certain kind of personality and style to them, or if you want something that's really, really good at coding or really, really good at writing, or if you want something where the company has a better commitment to safety and transparency, Anthropic and Claude are a good option. I like Claude because I just like its style. And back when I was choosing between Claude and ChatGPT, Claude had some advantages. Its context window was bigger, and it had a couple of other things going for it. So I went with Claude, and I've been sticking with it ever since. I mean, I will try out the other AIs. I will try out ChatGPT. I will try out Gemini. I will try out Perplexity. Um, I use Firefly a lot because um, they pay artists for their training data, which I really like, and they only use licensed training data. So Fireflies from Adobe, I highly recommend it. It's not as good as, say, Nano Banana, but it's almost as good, and it's getting better all the time. I mean, all these apps are catching up to each other. So it literally doesn't matter which one you pick. If you pick a big enough platform, they're all investing, they're all getting better. And that delay is getting shorter and shorter and shorter because the AIs are getting better at writing code. And so when a cool new feature comes out, it's faster and faster for everyone to duplicate it, including the free open source communities like DeepSeek and Quen out of China and Mistral out of France. So if you're into open source, I'm currently recommending Mistral. They're European, good privacy regulations. You're not sending your data to China. And you can run them for free on your own computer because the models come in different sizes. And they have an online chat called Le Chat. So I highly recommend them. So anyway, I've been rambling a little bit and just kind of bringing you up to date as to what's going on, what's the biggest news in the world of AI for kind of normal people and regular employees who are not themselves developers and who don't need to stay on top of like every single little development, but just want to, keep an eye out for the biggest ones. All right. So, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If there's something that you want me to try, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll post all the links I mentioned in the description box down below. See you guys next time. Bye bye.